Hi, everybody. Probably no one here yet. Oh, no, there's a couple of people. So good to have you here, guys.
Hello.
Just getting people coming on now, which is great. How is everybody? Charles, nice to see you here. It's been a while. It's been quite a while since we've heard from you.
If you just tell us your name and where you're from, would be great, so we know who we're talking to.
We've got a complete bank of computers here going on. There's like screens everywhere. It's awesome. So say hello, guys. We can see the chat. So say hello to us.
How do we hello.
Put some chat up.
Hi, Deepak.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Nice to see you. Oh, okay. Now we've got the chat happening. Nice to see you.
Awesome. Good to see you, Deepak. Charles, who else? Yes, hi. We've got a few other people coming. Awesome.
You're going to love this. We're looking forward to it.
So we're very excited. We love talking about relationships, particularly ours.
Hi, Rebecca. How are you, Rebecca? Hi, Coral.
Hi, Coral, Rebecca. Good to see you guys. So we've got a very exciting night for you tonight. We've got some really good stuff to tell you about relationships. Go in deep. We expect that you guys are also going to give us some feedback and, you know, along the way, ask questions. If we're talking about anything you're not sure about, then just chuck in a question and we'll do our very best to answer it.
And give us feedback. Otherwise, I feel like I'm talking to a computer.
Yes, but we can see you guys. Linda and Jamie, good to see you guys here. You're in for a really good night tonight. That's fantastic. Looking forward to you guys talking to us.
Hi, Haley. So you, can everybody hear us okay?
Yep, I think they can hear us. They must be.
You can hear us okay?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. Awesome.
Okay.
Fantastic. Okay, so getting more and more people arriving. That's fantastic. More and more coming on. Hi, Haley. Hi, Linda. Who else we got?
From Galaxy. Hi.
Whoever's on their Galaxy phone. How are you? But you guys can't hear us, right? No, Charles, we can't hear you. You can only text us. Otherwise, there'll be lots of conversations going on. And whilst the girls might want to use 28,000 words, us guys would prefer to use much less than that.
I bet you I could talk to everybody, Charles.
Yes, I'm sure they could get all that conversation going, right?
Brett's head would be fuzzled.
Yes, okay, you have to listen, Charles. Yes, good practice, all right? Good practice for us guys.
Not just listen, Charles, but listen with presence.
Yes, definitely listen with presence.
Us women can pick up the vibe from the computer, whether you're present or not, okay?
Definitely. So guys, we're going to jump into the presentation right now. Like we said, you know, if you've got any questions or any comments, just pop them up in the feed and we will be able to answer those. So relationship warriors, you're just one conversation away. And what that really means is that, you know, when we're in relationship, we tend to think that there's a lot of problems. We tend to think like these problems stop us from being able to connect. But the truth is that once we understand each other, then we can get to a point where we actually know how to have the conversations that lead us to someplace.
Yeah. And quite often, I think couples can feel out of love, or feel that, you know, to have a great relationship, it's so far away. And quite often it's not.
Yeah, it's just one conversation, knowing how to have that conversation the right way. So that's what the Relationship Warrior Code is actually about, is learning how to have these conversations. See, we've been cultured into a way of thinking about relationships. And what we're going to do tonight is completely break that down for you, because it's simply not true. It's just a culture that we've become used to. And unfortunately, that culture has led us to a divorce rate that is absolutely massive. So I think what I need to do here is we need to share the screen with you guys. And I think you've got the wrong screen at the moment. You do. So there we go. This might look a little bit better to you. So hopefully you guys can all see that now.
Can you see that slide?
So everyone should see the Relationship Warrior slide.
You're one conversation away slide.
Can you guys see that?
Give us a yes if you can see the slide.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks,
awesome.
Haley. Thanks, Charles. Thanks, Brad.
Awesome, guys.
Great.
Yep.
Okay.
Fantastic. So tonight, what are we talking about? Well, this web class is for those who are going okay in their relationship right now, but they know there's another level they could go to, you know, because in every relationship, we know in our own over the last, 26 years that we've been together, when you work on it in the right way, it gets deeper and it gets deeper. And the truth is, we haven't had these skills. So what we provide is an education. We provide an education so that you can grow in your relationship. Because the truth is, relationships are either growing or they're dying. They're never static. In fact, nothing in this universe is static. Never
standing still.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this webinar is also for those people who are going through a rough time. All relationships go through a rough time at some stage. So this webinar is for those people as well.
Yeah. And it's not the fact that we, have tough times, because we all do.
Yeah.
Everybody has a tough time in their relationship. There are periods when it's fantastic, it's going great, but equally there are periods when it's very tough. And it's not that we're going to have those periods, it's how we come through them that actually matters. We've got to a point where we can now make the topic that we're talking about or arguing about less than discussing than the importance of our relationship. Nothing is more important to us than our relationship.
And this webinar is also for those people who want to attract a partner, because quite often, and I deal with women all the time, and quite often they'll say all the good men are gay, or they're taken, and they've got a track record of choosing someone who is not good for them. Like, they can be 99 gorgeous guys in the pub and one prick, and guarantee this woman will pick the prick every time, and then she's off relationships and never wants a relationship. And that's really sad, because relationships are beautiful. It's when you get it right, it is such a beautiful place to rest. And so this webinar is for that person that has a choice problem.
Absolutely. I'm going to show you how we attract those people into our life and how we can change ourselves so that we're sending out a different message and attracting somebody that we actually want into our life, if that's you at category number 3. So what to expect from this web class tonight? Well, we want to show you, like we said before, that you're really just one conversation away from the intimacy, the love, the connection, and the great sex that you actually are seeking in your life. Because the sex part of it is really a reflection of how strong and how deep the relationship is. You can have sex, but you can also make love, and that takes it to a much deeper and far more satisfying level when we know how to do that. And the key to doing that for any couple is to have great conversations, great connection, great feelings of, it's like she's got my back from a guy's point of view, and he understands me from her point of view. He's getting what I'm saying. He's understanding my emotions. And that is so, so important for women, isn't it?
Very, yeah.
So, guys, we know everybody's busy, and we want to make sure that you actually stay for the whole webinar. And Jacqueline, no more pricks, please. Yes, we agree with that, definitely. And if you're a guy, no more the opposite of pricks, whatever that might be for a guy. We want to attract people into our lives that actually fulfill our lives, and we know we can fulfill them.
And we deserve it. We all deserve it.
We want to make sure you stay. And we know everyone's busy. We know it's going to take, an hour and 15 minutes out of your night. So we've got 2 great bonuses for you.
Watching this is way, way better than watching TV.
Absolutely. So we've got a downloadable copy of Forgotten Secrets of Lasting Forever, our relationship book. And guys, there is a new one coming out on the Relationship Warrior Code.
Jointly written.
Yes, we're writing that at the moment.
News.
And that'll be released very soon. And we've got 2 additional relationship videos for you to watch. So to add to the hour plus of content you're getting tonight. So if you stay to the very end, we're going to give you the link to be able to download that information. Okay? So make sure you're here for the entire webinar. So no one's given you this information. And you know, we both find this, one, frustrating, but also very, very sad that this isn't taught in school.
Yeah. And I don't want to whinge about the school system. We've had our kids out for 1.5 years and they've just gone back to school 2 weeks ago. So I don't want to whinge about the school system, but you know, there's an education that's missing, and most people leave school to go into a relationship, and there's just no education around relationships, how to attract a relationship that's healthy, and how to make one last. So unfortunately, you know, you're not given this information, so people don't know.
And that leads to the problem that we've got in our culture at the moment, which is that both in America, here, the UK, most European countries, we've got a 60% plus divorce rate. Clearly there's something missing. Clearly there's something not right. And that basically is we don't understand each other. We don't get each other. So relationships aren't taught in school. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're passionate about doing. We love seeing relationships work. So where did you get your relationship model from? Well, it's sort of like a CD, really. You know, it was written when you were younger. It was written by the culture. It was written by the events that you've been through. And when you get, you know, to your 20s and your 30s or your 40s or your 50s, you're looking to find a relationship. And we just go and grab that CD disc, pop it in there, and it starts to run. And what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to rewrite that CD disc.
And some patterns that were passed down from our family were awesome and keep them. And some patterns that were passed down were not so awesome. And that's the ones we need to ditch and create our own.
So we need to recognise that in World War I and World War II, there was a major demographic shift that happened right across Western society. And that shift was that men went off to war and they witnessed a slaughter on a scale that we've never seen before and never seen since. And they came back from that very different. Meanwhile, at home, the girls
were stepping up and, you know, going to work, working in the factories, and also they were looking after the kids, they were making money, and they were doing the cooking and looking after the house. So, you know, they took a lot on, and to this day, they've continued to take a lot on to the stage where now it's like a burden.
Yeah, absolutely. And for all the girls that are watching this tonight, you know what we're talking about. You know that you're carrying the burden, and you also know that it's tiring, that you're sick and tired of being the ones that are actually carrying the emotional burden of everyone around you. And it has to stop, because what it does is it forces you to move into the masculine to be able to deal with that burden. And meanwhile, when the guys came home from war, they came home different and changed, and all they were seeking was peace. And guys now are seeking the same thing. We would love nothing better than to come home, stick our feet up, turn the TV on, and just disappear into peace. And that dynamic, that culture that's now being created, is the major cause of the disruption that we see in communication in relationships right now. So the king and the queen have to rise. And what we mean by that is that the king has to get out of seeking peace. We're men, we can step up and we can take that burden that women have been carrying now for a long time. We're ready and we want to take it on. We're ready to take it on, and we can allow the queen to be the queen without her having to step into the masculine to deal with all the stuff. Do you guys agree? Give us some comments in here. Do you get what we're talking about right now? For the guys, are you ready to step up? For the girls, are you ready to let them step up? Because I know for ourselves, Hayley, yes, double yes, awesome. That's awesome. Because we ultimately have to become relationship warriors. When the king and the queen rise, they rise as warriors. They rise to the right place within the kingdom. And we know ourselves that, you know, years ago, after Marie and I met, we actually met doing this type of work, doing a personal development seminar.
We did. We met, and it was one of Brett's dreams to go around the world on a yacht. And we would go to a coffee shop, and he would get the sugar and he would do a map of the world on sugar on the table, and then he'd get a straw, and the top of the straw was the yacht, and then he would we would go up to the Cocos-Keeling Islands, up to Sri Lanka, through the Middle East, and he would do that with a straw, and we would just sit there just looking at this dream, and then this conscientious waitress would come along and just wipe it all away, and we would just look at her and then have to start again.
And the trip was absolutely amazing. Like, it was certainly one of the best times of our life to experience that. Lots of challenges, like, you know,
lots of big challenges,
but also some like amazing experience. Like, I remember being in the Red Sea. It was a beautiful sunlit day. There was a breeze coming from behind us, so the yacht was just sailing downwind. It was nice and flat, and we're right out in the middle of the Red Sea, and there was a pod of over 100 dolphins swimming underneath us, and we were standing right on the bow of the boat. The boat was on autopilot, and we were just standing there watching these dolphins swim in and out, playing this little game with each other. And, you know, experiences like being in the middle of the Indian Ocean and having whales come up next to us, and in the middle of the night when you're on night duty, breaching, you know, blowing air and scaring the living bejesus out of us. But, you know, just magic moments like that. But at the same time, experiencing the dynamic of two captains on a ship. And having to...
That was hard.
Having to work out how
two bosses in a 43-foot yacht.
Yes.
And nowhere to escape to, no girlfriends to go and talk to. That was great fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, thanks for the comments. Nicholas, yes, you're ready to step up. Jacqueline, woohoo. Awesome. So you have these great times, but you also have these challenges. Yeah. And you have to work out how to allow the king and queen to rise within those challenges. And that's what we worked out on the yacht.
Yeah, we did. And I think to have a relationship nowadays, just with the pressure, you know, of two people working in the family and kids, producing. And, it's, you know, the king and the queen must rise. Yeah.
It's no longer, you know, you've got two people out there producing. It's similar to us being on the yacht. Two people in the family producing. And you have to work out, okay, I'm going to let the king rise. I'm going to let him lead emotionally.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, and you know what worked 20 years ago, 30 years ago, doesn't work anymore.
Correct. So there's a new way of doing this, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So for Marie and I, you know, I remember having to make some substantial changes in my life. I went through a very difficult period in my early 30s. And I remember sitting in a room up in the monastery in New Norcia. It was a whitewashed room, metal bed, sitting there at 5:30 in the morning, sat bolt upright, tears streaming down my face, and realizing that the life that I'd been living was a lie. And understanding that I needed to make changes in my life. You know, I'd been a very successful business person and I built a $400 million company, but I realized I'd built an empire, not a kingdom. And I see many men doing that these days. You know, we're great producers. We go out and we work, and we can work hard. And we can build empires. We can build great companies. We can work really hard in our job, and we can produce. But that's not enough, guys. That's not enough these days. We have to learn how to build a kingdom. And I remember, you know, my mentor at the time, the lady that actually ran that course, she was quite a matriarch, Molly, and she called a spade, and she called a stone a stone. And I remember saying to her, you know, look, Molly, all I want is I just want to be loved. And she said to me, Brett, if you want to be loved, you have to be lovable. And it was like, you know, a brick between the eyes. It made me wake up and realize that what I'd been doing was not working. And I know many of you are in the same situation. So guys, on the feed, if you realize that you're in the same situation and stuff needs to change, you know, you no longer have to be the peasant in your kingdom. You want to be the king. And let us see some comments up there on the feed. Marie?
For me, I remember being in my shop one particular day, and I'd sent the staff home, And I was just balancing the till, and everything was going well. You know, business was going well. Current affair had just done a story on my shop, so business was booming. I always had great friends, and that night I was getting ready to go to a party. I always partied hard, and I just wondered, everything was going well, but I felt miserable. And I remember questioning, why are you feeling so miserable when everything's going so well? And what I really wanted was a beautiful relationship.
Yeah.
You know, I had everything I wanted. I had the house, I had my business, I had the staff, I had friends, but I really wanted something more. And that was a big change for me, just admitting to myself that I was miserable and I wanted a beautiful relationship.
Yeah. And I know a lot of you guys like listening tonight are relating to that story. You know, we can have the beautiful home, we can have these things all surrounding us, but if this piece is missing, if the kingdom's not in place, then that stuff literally becomes worthless. And for the guys that are listening, like, you know, Chris has put up there, it makes total sense. I feel where it's at. I'm feeling you, bro. I know what you're talking about. You know, there's nothing worse for a man to feel like a peasant in his own kingdom. And a lot of guys feel like that these days. A lot of men relate to what I'm saying here. You know, we've got our Relationship Warrior event coming up on the 7th of July here in Perth. And we've got another one coming up in Los Angeles in October. And, you know, the guys particularly, they're coming along to that. You know, we've got over 30 coming to the one at the moment here in Perth. And we only take 50 in any event. That's the maximum we take, because we've got a team of 12 people that work with us to give personal attention. But we only take 50. And a lot of the guys are relating to this. They're going, yeah, look, bro, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, brother, I get it. I feel like a peasant in my kingdom. I've got all this stuff. I'm good at my job. I work hard. My body's pretty fit, but I'm only a two-dimensional man. You know, I don't have it across in my beliefs, in my spirituality. I don't have it when it comes to this connection I actually want with my queen. And when you don't have that,
when you do have it,
yes,
it's it doesn't matter what's happening at work or what's happening with a neighbor or what's happening with the kids or whatever. You come home to a place where you rest, where you talk, where you share. And what's also great is whatever you want to achieve in your life, if you've got two energies on the same page, it is a beautiful journey. No matter what the obstacles are, it's a beautiful journey. And everybody can have this.
Because I know that, you know, if I'm out there and I'm making things happen and I'm going with the flow, and then, you know, something comes up and it blocks me, I know she's got my back.
Yeah.
And she knows that whatever stresses she's got, she can come home and she can offload those stresses onto me. These are the pieces that we learned in our story, in our journey. And these are essential components of what we call the armory within the kingdom. See, most couples go to the armory to get the tools that beat each other up, to try and get loved. The armory within the kingdom that we create is for you to go to the armory and get these tools that we're talking about now and be able to build a kingdom with it. Does that make sense? So Hayden goes, I get what you mean by stepping up, being involved, but when it creates conflict, I left feeling deflated. I feel like a passenger in my own life. That's what I'm talking about, Hayden, when I talk about like being a peasant in the kingdom. The good news is, bro, that you can learn what's in the armory. You can learn these tools to stop that conflict. That's why, you know, we talk about with the code, we can turn arguments into conversations in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's true.
And Chris, I can give you some details afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris.
Yeah. And you'll learn a lot, Chris, as we talk, because there's a lot of tools tonight for you.
Absolutely. So Jen and Paul are a couple that we've known for over 18 years. They've been together since they were 16 years of age in school. And, you know,
they've got two beautiful children.
They've got two great kids as well. And this is a video. Hopefully, guys, we're going to play this and let us know.
Let us know how it is, because sometimes the internet in Perth is not great, and sometimes it can be a wee bit slow. So just comment if it's okay.
Yeah. So let us know if you can hear their comments. If you can't, we'll just paraphrase it for you, break it down for you.
Hello, Brett and Marie. Hi. We're sitting here at the Crown Towers enjoying the fact that we're having a night by ourselves with an actual contribution from friends for Jen's 40th, which is what we've used to actually pay for the night. And we're just sitting here thinking, thank you so much for your contribution. I know that you guys know that you do so much for people, but I just want to share with you the fact that we love you so much, and thank you so much just from us, because if it wasn't for you and your intervention at certain times, we wouldn't be able to sit here on our 18th wedding anniversary and enjoy it. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. You got anything to say?
Just thank you for your love, your support, your guidance. As Paul said, you know, without that and giving us that mentoring when things were really, really not great, and for helping us stay great and stay true. And, you know, right now we are sitting here and I'm loving up my king and I'm feeling like a queen, like you would not believe. We have just had the best few hours, and I thank you for absolutely everything, and we love you guys so much. And we
Thanks,
just wanted to
guys.
send you this little message.
And we'll catch up soon because we have to drop a certain tent back.
Yes.
See you guys.
Bye.
Love you.
So guys, I hope you could hear the comments. And the reason we put this up is so you can see that, you know, people that learn this code, as we've taught it to Jen and Paul, you know, they've been together now for 18 years and they're very happily married, as you can see.
And doesn't Jen look beautiful? Just, you know, you can just tell energetically her being there. You can just see the queen in her, sitting there with her king. They got the kids babysit for, you know, 2 nights, and just enjoyed each other. How beautiful.
Because even after 18 years of marriage and pretty well being together, you know, for most of all of their adult life, they've been able to master the keys of the kingdom. So what are the keys? Well, it's a bit like, you know, what's the relationship warrior code? It's like a key to your partner's heart. Now, how amazing would that be, right? That you can actually get in there, because the truth is, and we all know this, right? Let's not kid ourselves tonight. Most of us walk around with a chest plate on. And we've learned to put that chest plate on somewhere in life. And guys, if you know what I'm talking about, again, put some comments up there, you know, get involved in the conversation. There's lots of you on the feed tonight, and a lot of you aren't commenting. So don't sit back there and hide behind the computer screen. Let's get some comments going.
Otherwise, I'll think I'm talking to a computer, okay?
Yeah, and she needs conversation, like 28,000 words per day she needs. So if you guys don't talk, I'm going to have to give them to her after this webinar. And I'm going to be talking all night long to be able to give her 28,000 words. So give us some stuff on the feed, guys. So, you know, it's like that key. And we have to be able to take this chest plate off. And within our Relationship Warrior event, that's what we help people do. We give them the key. We show them how to take this armor off so that we can feel each other. We can feel that connection, because the truth is, and this is like academic, this is scientific, 93% of communication, according to a University of California and Los Angeles study in 1956, says that 93% of communication is non-verbal. It's not what we say.
So, yeah, and we've all experienced that, where we go into, say, someone's house and you just pick up the atmosphere. And there's a saying we say, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife. So what we're picking up is the non-verbal communication. We're picking up the 93%. So the same thing happens in relationships.
Yep. Sharika, 2 relationships saved. So Sharika and her husband, Matt, were at the last relationship event. So good to see you guys here tonight.
Yeah.
And absolutely true. You've got to have those chest plates off, right? So the code, in terms of how we communicate, when we know this code, what we'll see is that men want to make their partner happy.
And women often say to me, what? Then why is he doing this and why is he doing that? But we can have a room of 50 people and every guy will put his hand up because he wants to make his partner happy, and the women are shocked. So it's, you know, again, something for the women to realize in the code, when they start learning about the code. That's a very, you know, important factor, that they actually do want to make us happy.
Yep. Because of that dynamic that happened in the world wars and the modeling that we took when we came out of that, you know, a lot of guys are walking around in their feminine state. That doesn't mean we're feminine, but we're walking around in a state where we're not producing the testosterone that we need to produce for them to feel like we're understanding them or trying to make them happy. And this is a physiological thing that actually happens in the relationship. Equally, a lot of the women are walking around with chest plates on in their masculine state. So then you've got two masculine energies butting up together in a relationship. And I know most of you here tonight are experiencing that in relationships, right? Because everybody's experiencing it in relationships.
Yeah, it's epidemic, you know, at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Coral, how to explain what we want, we're being feminine, but when he's defensive. You really got to get into your heart. You've got to get into your feminine state. And instead of telling him what he needs to do, you need to explain to him what you actually want.
And the very fact that he's saying, I can't do anything right, Coral, what happens is a man will try and try and try and try, but if that's met with the masculine, and if that's met with he can't do anything right all the time, eventually men will give up, and you don't want that to happen. So you continue watching this, and that'll unfold.
Hayden, brother, I like your question, man. You know, you're spot on with the questions that you're asking. So I get it. The problem is that we're being conditioned to keep that chest plate on. So when we try and take it off, it's like a lucky band, right? It snaps back on. So we need some external help to be able to break that conditioning. And that's what we do inside the Relationship Warrior Code event. We help take that conditioning off, as many of the people, you know, who are on this webinar will testify to, and it helps keep it off permanently so that she can feel you. And we also teach you and condition you to be in the masculine state when you're having those conversations. It's critically important. We're going to demonstrate that tonight to actually get to see it.
And Hayden, she knows that she can't get close to you.
Yep.
She knows you've got a chest plate. And, you know, she'll come, it'll unfold, but, you know, she'll come after you because what she wants is some emotion. She wants to feel you. And if she's unable to feel you, she's going to keep going at you.
Absolutely. And once we understand, ladies that are listening, your man actually does want to please you, it turns the relationship around, because you'll get to learn how to be in the feminine and ask for what you actually want. Like, I need a hug right now. I just need you to listen right now. I just want to be with you right now. Those sorts of things to a man are just like amazing. That's the stuff we want to hear. When we hear that, it's like, oh, excellent. I know how to win the game. Because I know a lot of you guys out there right now are listening, and it's like, you want to win this game. You know, you want to win, but at the moment you don't know how to win. It's like she's playing soccer, you're playing Aussie rules. You're on different fields and no one's there to tell you the rules. There's no umpire and there's no way of winning this game. That's what the code's about, guys. That's what it's about, learning how to win. So what are we going to look at tonight? We're going to look at 3 what we call secrets. Secret number 1 is that we are equal, but we're different. See, in the 1960s, we got to a point where it's like, okay, we're equal.
Which people meant or took that as the same.
And
we're not the same. We're very, very different in every way.
Absolutely.
In everything we do, in what we want from a relationship, to the way we want to make love, to everything.
To the number of words that you use.
Yeah, we're different. We're so different.
To even the mode of communication. You know, you'll even see tonight, like I'm talking a lot about facts. I'm talking a bit about emotion, but she's talking all about the emotion. She wants to laugh and have a good time. So like it's...
Brett wants to stick to the time. We've got an hour to keep moving on. So.
Whereas she doesn't care about the time. What she cares about is the experience that she's having right now. So just understanding that when we're having these conversations enables us to have like a interpreting device, which is the code for interpreting the language that each of us are using. So Rebecca's, what happens when they say, I'm too busy, when you want a hug? So you ask him again in a different way. And it's hard to stay in the feminine when the promises are not honoured and followed through with, empty words. Yes, but you're probably finding and you're not realising, Coral, that you're using the masculine to keep on that asking. And what he must be experiencing is you're getting it wrong, you're getting it wrong, you're still getting it wrong, you still haven't got it right. So he's just going to shut down more and more.
Because, Coral, the worst thing you can actually say to him is, oh, we need to talk.
Yeah.
And the energy that a man picks up, oh my God, I've mucked up again.
Because every man listening to this, as soon as she said those words, is like, oh my God, what have I done? Or have I screwed up this time?
Oh, the man just left.
Yeah. So, Nicholas, how do you find that the male-female dynamic can be reversed? I think what you mean by that is like...
Can I be in my feminine and Britain my masculine in Britain is feminine? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So in my early 20s, I definitely was in my masculine. I ran a number of companies and I hit it hard, and I was definitely in my masculine. I did a lot of sport. I played, I represented Australia and Ireland in judo. I was very good, and definitely did all that from a masculine place. Absolutely. So there was definitely, I didn't realize that there's a lot more skills in the feminine, and all the intuitive stuff is in the feminine.
Mm.
And, a woman will know way, way before the guy when there's a problem in the relationship.
Yeah. So how to have conversations, not arguments, in 5 minutes. Like, people do a mouse wheel. Okay, and if you observe conversations or actually arguments in relationships, you find, you guys will know, you argue about the same thing over and over again, maybe in a different way, but generally the topic's the same. It's either money, sex, kids, the in-laws, jealousy. It'll be the same topic. And we want to show you how you can convert that around and turn them into conversations where the relationship comes first. And lastly, and so important, how you build your kingdom without costing your marriage, without going out and building empires, actually to build a kingdom. A
lot of men can go out and build empires, and when they finally come home, there's no one there at home.
Correct. So secret number 1, we're equal, but we're different. Yes, in the 60s, we wanted to be equal, but the culture took it that we're the same, but we are so different. Like we've been joking about, like, she's going to use heaps more words than me. She's looking for me to understand her emotions within the conversation, not the content of what she's saying. But as men, our brain is designed to focus on content. And this creates a huge problem. So Dr. John Gottman did a study about nearly 20 years ago now, and he studied 3,500 couples. And he took the results of those studies and came up and said, I want you guys to come back in 5 years, and I'm going to predict whether you're still together or not. And with a 91% degree of accuracy, he was correct. And he found what he called markers in the relationship. And that is that guys walk around literally with chest plates within the kingdom. And when a conversation starts and he hears, we need to talk, he blocks. And he goes like, what do you mean? I didn't do that, or that didn't happen, or no, that's not correct, or I don't get what you're talking about. And the more that he does that, the more that she will...
Yeah, absolutely. Come after him.
She'll go to the armory, get the mace. And if you don't know what a mace is, that's the weapon with the wooden stick and the chain and the big iron ball with the spikes on it. And she will come after that armor, and she will go to town on that armor, bashing away at it. And
start blaming, so he can't do anything right.
Yeah. And that's how men feel these days. No matter what I do, I never are able to seem to keep her happy anymore. In the honeymoon period, it was easy. She laughed at all my jokes. Everything I did made her happy. We had wild, passionate, love-making sessions all the time. We did it all over the house. It was amazing. And now, we're lucky to do it once a month if we do that. And we're lucky to have a conversation passing in the passageway about anything of substance. And if we do have a conversation, it's always an argument. that comes out of this dynamic that we've been cultured into. So we have to learn how, in a dynamic environment like an event, to switch into and master what it is to be in the masculine for a guy and a feminine for the girl. So on the landing page that you came through to get to this webinar, you would have seen there's lots of testimonials there from people that have done the Relationship Warrior event. And you know what they're testifying to is how that shift has happened in just 3 days. That's all it takes, because the king and the queen have to rise in a relationship.
For the relationship to be successful, the queen and the king must rise.
Yes. Coral, I get what you're saying, but you have to be careful here of being in the masculine. When a woman is in her masculine, what she does is she projects it out to him. It's him, 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 him. What you must do is get into the feminine and look at how you're actually asking.
And trust, Coral, has got nothing, trust, faith, disappointment's got nothing to do with your partner at all. It's got, you know, if that was the case, human beings wouldn't trust anybody. Trust is all about how much do we trust ourselves, that we're okay, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Another conversation, but you know.
Yeah. So what happens is we get this dynamic going, what we call triangulation. And we're talking about a topic. So about 3 years ago, we were celebrating our 20th wedding anniversary. And I wanted to make it something special. And the 20th wedding anniversary is around the gift that you're supposed to give is China. Now, I know my girl is not a girl who's going to appreciate getting a whole pile of dishes and China, right? That is not going to light her up. So I was thinking, okay, well, I really wanted to take her to Paris, but that doesn't really fit in with China. I know. I'll take her, you know, I'll take her to the Paris of the Orient, which is Shanghai in China. So I got everything organised.
You did very good.
I got the kids organised because the weekend that we got back from being in China was the weekend the kids, they were at school the next day. We got back on the Sunday.
New schools the next day.
New schools the next day. And they were going to new schools on the Monday. So I got the uniforms organised by speaking to the lady that ran the uniform shop and getting her explaining that, you know, I was taking my wife away. It was our 20th wedding anniversary. We were coming back. Could she possibly open it on a Sunday?
And she's known to be a battle axe, but she loved you.
Yes. And I managed to sweet talk her into opening it on a Sunday.
So we got the uniforms.
Got the uniforms organised, managed to get the books all ordered and sorted and tagged and all that sort of stuff, right? Got the kids looked after for that whole week whilst we were away, you know, with their cousins and things like that. Organised, you know, the flights up, managed to upgrade the flights, you know, with points to business class there and back. Like, I did it as best as I think I could possibly do it.
Yeah, you had lots of rose petals in the swimming pool.
I had rose petals in the swimming pool. Like, I went to an extreme. We had a party on the night before we went away and announced to Marie that night at the party. She had no idea that the next day we were going to China. And she freaked out. And every question she asked, I had it answered, except for one thing. And that was, we're having the party on the Saturday night. And on the Friday, she comes home from a shopping expedition with the kids with a rabbit in her hands.
He had the dog looked after, the goldfish fed, but he wasn't planning on the rabbit.
No. So it's like, what on earth, how do I win here? Like, what am I going to do with this rabbit? Who's going to look after a frigging rabbit? Because I got the dog babysat. My mum took the dog and like, she doesn't like having dogs. So, you know, I had to sweet talk her as well. Then it's like, what am I going to do with the frigging rabbit? So I knew that Marie's friend Dana might take it, but I thought, nah, Dana's probably a hard sell. Daryl, her husband, though, Daryl's very easy to please. So I rang Daryl and said, dude, look, you know, I've organised this. I know you come to the party. Marie's just come home with a rabbit. Could you possibly have the rabbit? He goes, yeah, sure, no worries. Want the rabbit for a week? Not a problem. So they had the rabbit for the week.
They hated the rabbit.
Yeah. So took her away for the week, got back. Dana was going to kill me because in the week they had the rabbit, they've also got a dog, so they have to keep the rabbit inside the house. The rabbit pooed on the lounge, ate a hole in their couch in the side of it, and every time Dana tried to shoo it off the couch, it would just glare at her with its ears back. So I wasn't the most popular. But I got back, and what Marie was talking about to everybody after the trip was the uniform shop.
Yes, I was, because it was very clever. You know, like the uniform shop was closed. It was only open for that week we were away. And it was just so good getting her to open up and thinking and getting that sorted. I was really impressed, really impressed.
So the way that the woman scores it is 1 point for business class, 1 point for going to China, probably 2 points, you know, for the week, and 5 points for the uniform shop. So we're very, very different. You know, guys often think it's about the big stuff, you know, doing these big things. It's about the flowers and taking it out to dinner. And yes, they love all that. Yeah. But
it's the little things. Like Brett went away last week. And when he left, I was at work, so he left for the airport, and he just left a note on the bathroom mirror. Just, I love you, with a little heart. So it's just the little things. That said, they're all week until he came home. So it's just the little things that women like to know you've thought of them.
Yes. When we understand the tools within the armory, guys, it gives us the code to win at this game of making them happy, of getting their support. I know for all the men that are listening tonight, there is nothing better in your life than to know if you had her 100% backing with what you're doing. But there are steps to that we're showing you tonight to get to that place. It doesn't just click like that. You first of all have to get the armor off. You've got to get rid of those patterns, and you've got to learn the code. But it's actually easy to do. So, you know, one dynamic that happens within the event is what we call presence. And it's something that's quite unique and something that no one has ever shown us. So I'm going to give you a brief demonstration of it right now with Marie. So it requires a guy to be in a very energetic state, like with a lot of focus. And you can see the reaction that Marie's having right now from this state. You know, I know how to get immediately into this state, and I know what happens in her. I can feel the testosterone rising in me as I do it. And equally, if you can see Marie right now in detail, you know, she's starting to flush. Her cheeks are starting to light up. She's starting to produce more oxytocin. That binds her to me. So can you guys see that? Give us some feedback if you actually feel that through the screen.
There is a chemical change when...
See that dynamic going on there? Yes or no? Give us some feedback. Everyone's fallen asleep. They can't type. Yes, definitely. I'll have to teach my man those things as he's chosen to watch TV instead of joining you here. Rosie, you know what? The only reason he's doing that is selling again, really. Yeah. And he's just looking for that piece. That's why he's tuned out to his box right now. Yes, gorgeous. Too small on phone.
Froze, yeah. Few
Sorry, Brad.
Yeah.
Froze for me too.
Yeah, few people have said it's froze. Sorry, the internet's shocking in Australia.
Charles, yeah, I get to make it look easy, but it takes practice like anything else.
But there is a chemical, you know, if you take blood tests during that, there's definitely, in the first 2 years, we produce dopamine, and then that changes. And once the honeymoon period is over, that changes to oxytocin.
Yeah. So there are these inbuilt chemical changes that go on. That's why we have the honeymoon period. We've got this brain thing going on with all this dopamine, and that's why it feels so good in that initial phase. Now that phase can only last a week sometimes in a relationship, or it can last, you know, up to 2 years, but it will change. And then we start producing more oxytocin to bind us together. When we know the code and we produce that dynamic, we produce more testosterone, more oxytocin, and we get back that dopamine, we get back that passion into the relationship that we're all seeking. So I'm not going to play this video because I know that the video lags a bit, but this video is on the landing page to the webinar. So if you want to watch it, go back to the landing page, watch, because this is Holly, and Holly did the event just recently in Los Angeles. Now, her and her husband, Mark, Holly met me at an event that I was doing in Los Angeles.
Just for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
She just met Brett for 5 minutes, and, you know, that was it.
And we just had this little conversation around the code and how it actually works, and she got it immediately. She recognized that she's been in the masculine for a long time and her husband's been in the feminine. Now, guys, you know, a lot of guys take it when I say they're in the feminine, they take offense to that. Don't. Like, Mark is 6'3", okay? He does extreme sports. He throws himself off buildings. He rides BMX bikes and does friggin' somersaults and all this sort of stuff. So when he went off to produce at work, he's in his masculine. When he's going to do his extreme sports, he's in his masculine. But he'd been conditioned by the culture, by role models around him, that when he's with his wife, he's trying to please her, trying to make her happy. And that's where he shifts into his feminine. And that's the very thing that she doesn't want. You cannot appease or try and please a woman. That's not what she wants. She wants security. She wants certainty. She wants you to be in the masculine with the direction for the kingdom to go at. She wants to know that you've got a plan, that you're taking both of you, the kingdom, the kids, all of you somewhere. And when she's clear on that, she's going to feel safe. She's going to feel secure. That's when we're in our masculine state. So what Holly's saying on the video is, oh my God, it was amazing. In 3 days, they've got a complete reversal. She knows how now to be in the feminine. And she doesn't mind me saying this because she said it publicly. She said it in the video. Like, she was ready to leave before she came to the event. She got to a point where it's just like, I can't do this anymore. And in 3 days, they turned it around. And the arguments they used to have, they're now learning how to put those arguments behind the strength of the walls of the kingdom. You see, in a kingdom, guys, in the old kingdoms, in the castles, we had an area called the keep. And it was called the keep for a very good reason. Within the keep, we keep the things that are most precious of the kingdom. We keep us, we keep the children, but we keep the treasury, you know, the finances, and we keep the trust, the commitment, the loyalty, the bravery, the courage. And those things, when we keep filling that keep up with those things, knowing how to fill it up from the armory with those things, that when things get rocky, the keep is full enough that we don't drain it, because people want to leave when the keep is empty. I hope that makes sense to you all. Does that make sense to everybody? Hayden, I know this, yes, this was my go-to. She had just started to let me back to this place. I get what you're saying. I'm guilty of shifting in the feminine when I'm home. Bro, fist pump, awesome. Brad, after Ignite, arranged a vow renewal for our 30th wedding anniversary. That went over well. Absolutely. Absolutely. Daniel, you understand. Good, awesome. So what we end up doing is we end up looking like this scene here, right? Where she's had enough. She's tired of trying to get the message across. He's fed up.
She hasn't been heard, so she'll get louder.
Yep. And she ends up putting on
armor. And, you know, women are capable. If you don't step up, they will, or we will. And, you know, this is where she'll go to the armor and hammer him.
Yeah. And you'll start talking, you'll triangulate over topics, because no one's ever shown us how to talk about what actually is going on in the relationship. See, he just wants to be loved. He wants to know that she's got his back. He wants to know that she's there for him all the time. He wants to know that she's never going to leave. And
she wants to be heard. She wants to spend time with him. She wants to share her life and experiences with him. Every
single one of them. In great detail as to what happened, and then hear how he feels about it. There is a code of communication that when we get it right, Guys, we don't feel like we're beaten down. And girls, you don't feel like you're walking around in armor all the time,
carrying everything, everybody, everyone.
Which must be exhausting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely exhausting. So when we can learn to strip the armor off and get the conditioning that we've been through off us, then we can implement this strategy. So I hope this makes sense to you. Daniel, this is exactly where we've been. Yeah. So guys, you know, I made the right choice years ago when I went to Molly, and I got mentoring in how to implement this into my life. And then we developed it into a complete code and a strategy of how to do this. And there are times in your life when you have to reach out, and you have to reach out for help. Because any great king and any great queen know that there's always a wizard or someone they go to get advice as a mentor. And we have to be able to do that. And that's what we provide for you. So men naturally block an emotional conversation by putting the chest plate on. Women will store it up.
We do. And women have great memories. And quite often, you know, events are overridden with emotions. So that makes us remember. So quite often in an argument, a woman will be like, you know, last year you said this to my mother. And the poor guy's like, I did? What? So we do remember.
Absolutely.
We store it up.
And it'll come out in those arguments. And we have to be able to move past these arguments, you know, the same sort of topic over and over again, to understand the emotions and what's actually going on. What do they need? What do we need? You know, as men, what we need to feel is we need to be supported, and we need to feel like we're appreciated in the relationship.
Because it's never about the money, the sex, the in-laws, or whatever the topic is. It's never about that. It's always about the emotional need that's not being met.
Correct. So we need to move into our masculine state, and then she can let go of the burden and step down. And we want to be able to show you in an event how to actually do that. So one of the tools that we've got within the armory, and we've got like literally hundreds of tools like this within the armory to give to you. So the first one of the tools is we're called the shield. And the way the shield works is we have to put ourselves first. You know, if within the kingdom, you're not getting your area of the temple. So we have different areas within the kingdom that we have to master. And the temple is your beliefs and spirituality. And we all have belief systems, but if they're not in alignment with what actually works, then you've got a problem. And quite often, what stops you from implementing these strategies we're showing you tonight is your own belief system. So we have to work on ourselves first.
And what I mean is put yourself first. Is, you know, once we fill up and we're okay, then we can give to everybody else. But what often women do, will give to everybody else, and whatever's left over, if there's any time left over, then they'll give the crumbs to themselves. And they're exhausted and worn out and angry.
Correct. And resentful of having been in this situation, but not knowing how to talk to him.
Where guys usually, you know, they're much better at doing things for themselves. You know, they'll go off to golf or shooting or wherever they go. So they're better at this. They're better at giving themselves that time. Women, we're not so good, and it's something that we need to get good at.
Yeah.
And secondly is, you know, put the marriage next. Now that's difficult for some people, because, especially for women, because they want to put the kids next. And after yourself, unselfishly, you need to put your partner next. Because if you don't, and someone else is there, like an in-law or a parent or your child or a stepkid or an ex-wife, or if anything is in between you, it will cause problems.
Absolutely. And guys, if you're putting your kids before your wife, you've got a problem. Put your business. Or even if you put your bros, right, your mates, you go down, you know, playing golf and you're down there for the whole weekend, that is going to cause a problem. There's a balance with that. And we learn within the shield how to fill her up first, so that then when we need to go and do those things, which guys do need to go and do, then it's okay with her.
When we get that presence and from our man, it's okay. They go off and go for their bike ride or do whatever they want to do, because we're full and we actually quite then like that space ourselves. So we're okay with that. So you can have your time, guys. You can go out and into your cave, but this needs to be okay first.
Yep, absolutely. So again, I'm not going to play this video, but this is Leah and Craig. So Leah came to the event first because she knew that things had to change in the relationship. She didn't know how to change them. And she's a very successful business person, very competent at what she does. But like a lot of women these days, you know, they're very good at business, but
she was taking the burden for everything in the family.
Yeah, and literally dying inside because she wasn't getting fulfilled in the relationship. So she came along, she saw the code, understood it, then went home and talked to Craig, who's also a very successful business person. And he
was reluctant.
He was reluctant to come. But again, if you go back to the landing page and watch the video, you'll hear him talk about it. And he was like, she's going on about all this masculine, feminine stuff. And
he didn't understand at all.
Correct. And he's like, I don't get what the hell she's talking about. I don't even know if it's worth me coming to listen to this stuff. But he came. And as you'll hear him testify, by the end of the 3 days, he was like, oh my God, I get it. I'm in my masculine state now. I'm in my king. I know how to create this kingdom, and we're going to go out and we're going to have an awesome life doing this.
And how awesome for them both after all this time, finally, to be on the same page.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
So have a look at it. We usually play it, but the internet's not great. So afterwards, have a look.
Yeah. And the reason that she came first is that women are more tuned into the status of a relationship. Thousands of years of evolution, connection has made them be able to read that 93% of communication very, very well. Men, less so, but we can train ourselves to be able to do that. So, you know, when something's not right with the kids, we can step in and go, okay, something's not right here, let's talk about it. What do we need to do within the keep, within that area of passing the kingdom to our heirs? What do we need to do here in terms of values? What values do we want to give to the kids, and how are we going to do that? What do we need to reinforce here?
What do we, the quality of your conversation gets better, once you build your kingdom. And one of the questions you ask yourself is, what do I want to pass on to the kids? What emotions do I want to pass on, and how do I display that in the home?
Yes. And Hayden, you're right. As men, they want us to lead. That's not telling them what to do, but they want us to have that plan, where we're going. They want us to lead. This is what we need to do with the kids. This is what we need to do with their education. This is what we need to do with the house, the family, the business, the investments.
What's your thoughts?
What's going on in the treasury? What's going on in the temple? What's going on in the dojo with our health and fitness? How are we working that together? There's a whole pile of areas within the kingdom that we as the king need to step up and handle. And we can, because we're guys. We can handle it.
Nervous?
So how to build the kingdom? Because the truth is, two energies working together as a couple is much better than one.
Can you imagine?
So these are all the areas within the kingdom. The relationship code, building the bridge, the armory, the kingdom building tools that I've been talking about. We have an online portal with videos, tools, tips, information, guidance, with all these kingdom building tools in it. The treasury, handling our finances and investments. Do you have skills to do this or not? If you don't, as the king, you need to step up and learn them in property and in stocks. We can teach you that. We can show you that in very simplistic terms, how to look after the treasury of the kingdom. The temple, your beliefs and spirituality. What beliefs are you running the kingdom on? Because if you're just running it without any clear beliefs, you've still got beliefs, you just don't know what they are. And for her, she's going to find that very, very frustrating. There's going to be no guidance, not heading anywhere, not a journey together, which is what women want. And guys, we need to feel like we're going somewhere as well. The dojo, how's your fitness and health? Where's that going? What's happening in the bedroom with your love and sexuality? And lastly, with the heirs, your children. So there are all these areas to be able to cover very simply, very easily, once you understand the code. And we want to build the kingdom. That is essential. So when we came back from overseas, we had to re-establish the kingdom. We had both sold our businesses. We'd spent a lot of money traveling for 3 years when we had the yacht, sailing, you know, halfway around the world. And we came back and we had a unit in Victoria Park. And we learned the skills. You know, we developed the skills together. We bought a block of land over in Salter Point, seeing that gave us the other block freehold. We built a house on it. Values went up, and that helped us re-establish the kingdom. These skills are not complicated. These skills are available when we're in the right state. Guys, if this portion of it is making sense to you, give us some feedback. Come on, there's a lot of you guys here sitting, not typing, not saying anything. Let us know if you want to learn these key skills of the kingdom across all those areas. Let us see that. Are we seeing any comments? They're coming, hopefully. Yep. Charles, good. What about the rest of you guys?
Somebody we haven't heard from. Yep.
Okay, so making heaps of sense. Finally coming through. Okay, Pete doesn't know how to use the chat on the PC. That's okay, he'll figure it out. Rosie, yes, good. So Jana and Shane were another couple that came to us. You know, Jana came to us when she was just 25 years of age. She was having a breakdown. She'd had an affair in the relationship because she wasn't getting her needs met. When that happens, we go outside thinking that it's going to somehow, put a Band-Aid or temporarily satisfy those needs. And she came to see us. And as she testifies here, my husband and I would not be married today if we hadn't done Ignite, which is the Relationship Warrior event, together. It's deepened their marriage and it's deepened their whole families. They've learned how to cover each of those areas. They've learned how to invest, and they've really built a strong kingdom for each other. And that's what we want to give to you guys tonight. So I know that, in an hour, believe it or not, we've been talking for an hour right now. I know it can feel like, we're trying to download a lot of information to you. It probably feels a little bit like this, okay? Because if you come to the event with us, we've got 32 hours with you. And we've got a lot more time to give you all this information. So, guys, what's Hayden say? This has become stagnant with a couple of poor investments. How do we move forward? Hayden, we've started again with literally nothing. We've started again with literally nothing. And you learn the skills. And
second time around, Hayden, you build the treasury much faster. And especially
stronger.
Yeah, and especially from different beliefs, especially when you're both on the same page.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful journey. It's not like shoveling shit uphill. It is an easier journey. There's more flow with it when you're both working together.
Absolutely. And you can learn how to do it with very minimal equity, particularly in the stock market or in the property area, with certain techniques. And you need a good mentor. And that's what we're here to be able to do for you, Hayden, is provide that.
Yes, Intuit will be recorded.
Will it be recorded? Yes, it will be recorded. It's only going to be up for a couple of days, only up for 2 days. So it'll be up until Friday night.
And then it's taken down.
But we'll put the link up on this feed for you to get a different link so you can actually watch it. Coral, is it a different course to Ignite? Yes, it is. It's far more focused from now on relationships and how to build this kingdom that we're talking about. How do you make your partner face and work on her issues? You open yourself up, Charles.
Yeah, Charles, I've always found it's always one that comes and says that. And it's when you move and you stay strong and let go of expectations with her, she'll move. And you may move 4 places, she'll move 2.
The very simple answer to that question is do what Leah did. Come to the event yourself and your partner will follow. That's the best way of doing it. So I want to talk about what you're going to get coming to the Relationship Warrior event. So are you guys okay if I run through what the event is about and what the event can give you? Can I get some yeses and some Beck? Hi, Beck. How are you? Excellent. Yes, Brad.
Hi,
thank you. Yes, 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 yes. Excellent. So marriage guidance doesn't work, guys. You know, I got divorced over 30 years ago, and I went through over a year of marriage guidance counseling. And it actually made it worse, because what you're talking about is the problems within the relationship. And all that does is make you focus on what's not going right instead of the solution to get it to go right, which is what the code is about. But we need you for 32 hours. Okay, we need you for 32 hours to recondition you. You've spent your life, to whatever age you are right now, being conditioned by the culture to be how you are. And the result of being conditioned by the culture, guys, it's not rocket science. Over 60% of us are getting divorced. That's the result of the conditioning. So we need you for that period of time to recondition you into learning the code. So what are you going to be able to get? Speak and have him actually understand you. Be present, ladies, with you in the relationship. Guys, stand up and become the king you want. Start to take control of the direction of the kingdom across all its areas that we've shown you.
And the queen, and just all the intuitiveness which comes with that.
Absolutely. And she will be so proud of you, so respectful of you. And equally, she will step up within that kingdom as well to become responsible with her spending, become responsible with the investments, become responsible in the area of fitness and health, become responsible with the heirs, become responsible across all those areas of the kingdom.
And working together of what has been getting in between you.
Absolutely. And for her to be able to speak to him and tell him what you really need, ladies, emotionally. And for him to understand that. I mean, that's got to be worth coming on its own. Guys, I cannot tell you what it's like having learnt this and be able to step up as a king within the kingdom and feel like a king, not a pauper anymore within my kingdom. It has been a massive shift to be able to do that, to be the producer when there is a problem, to sort it out, to work, to make it work, and to make this work and have her support has been absolutely awesome. Again, that alone is worth coming for. What we're passionate about is seeing couples work together and create the life that you guys actually both want. We know what you both want. You want to be loved. You want to raise beautiful children who have great values. We know that you want to be able to work together and feel connected as a couple. See, through having worked with thousands of couples, it just saddens both of us when we meet people and it's like, you know they love each other, but they're not feeling it anymore.
And they're letting behaviours, whether it be addictions or whatever it may be, to get in between this. And it's so sad. And what's sad is that they just don't have the skills. It's not they don't love each other, they just don't have the skills, and they feel the only option is to walk away, and that's not true.
Yeah, or put up with what they've got, which again is not an option, because there is no standing still. It gradually declines and leads to a divorce. And to give your kids the kingdom, to pass down a kingdom where the treasury is full, the keep is full, the crops are sown, the fields are bountiful, to pass that to our kids. That's what we all want. So what do we get in a 3-day event? Well, you get 32 hours within the Ignite relationship event, the Relationship Warrior Code event. Day one, what we do is we remove the conditioning you've been through. The conditioning is created in a certain way, and we now know how to undo that conditioning. Another way of putting that is take that chest plate off. Be able to open up to her, to people, and to life.
And, our part in that is to open. It's important for us to go, you will learn in the code to go to that vulnerable place. Our responsibility here is to open to that.
Yeah. And I get your comments, Elcha. We'll come back to them afterwards, but listen through this and you'll get where we're heading with it. So day 2, learn the code. learn how to be in the feminine, masculine states, and be able to walk out knowing what those states are and understanding the differences and interpreting, more importantly, the differences in us. So when we're communicating, instead of focusing on what she's saying, I can tell what she's feeling.
And feeling that in our body as well. You know, just knowing that when we're in the masculine, when we're in the feminine, and the difference that it makes in our life and the different responses we get in our life.
And on day 3, it comes together. Everything you've been taught in the 3 days now solidifies. And one way of expressing it is, it's like being on the castle ramparts, looking down over the kingdom and being able to survey it from that higher place, understanding how all the components fit together, instead of walking in and it's just chaos. I know what you're talking, you know what I'm talking about when I say that. So what you get in the 3-day event is all these things. Lose the conditioning, get some peace inside, feel less irritated with each other, understand each other, actually hear each other, connect and gain again what you once had, respect each other, trust each other, love each other, and fill up the keep by being able to do that. So this is what it looks like, guys. You can sign up and come to the Ignite Relationship Warrior event, which is on the 7th of July here in Perth. That's $1,995 each. Yes, I get it's an investment, but it's an investment in your marriage. It's an investment in your kingdom, and it's an investment in yourselves. You get access to the online armory, all the videos that we've got to educate and inspire you. You get that included tonight. And that's normally $995 is what we're going to be charging for that as a separate piece to be able to access it online. You also get access to our Facebook group for support and encouragement. We're running online courses there, which again are going to be $495. You get access to our qualified relationship coaches to assist when the need arises. So if you need advice, you need a tune-up, you need to be able to reach out to someone and check in how I implement one of these armory tools that you're going to get from coming to the event. And then you've got the backup of the online system afterwards to be able to access that at any time. You know, if you've got a problem going on with the kids, oh, okay, where's that section about the heirs? Okay, let's look in there. There's the answer. But if you need outside advice, we've got a team of 12 coaches that can assist you to be able to do that. So that's a total value of $4,180. But tonight, it's going to be a lot less than that. I'm going to tell you what it is very shortly. So if all we did was turn your arguments into conversations, bring back the king and queen, work together towards your future, feel understood, and teach your kingdom, teach your children how to have a kingdom, is it worthwhile coming? So let's see some answers to that. Is it worthwhile coming? If that's what you get. And you rising as the king and queen. Absolutely. Dushore. Thank you. Excellent. So guys, what we want to save you from by coming to the Relationship Warrior event is hundreds of thousands of dollars in divorce costs. We don't want to see you split up your kingdom for everything you've been working for to date. And I get some of you are like, yeah, but Brett, you know, it's not so bad. It's not that bad. But the truth is, we have to rise or we fall. There is no standing still. And I get if you want to go on your own, but that's not the solution. See, you save years of marriage guidance counseling because it doesn't work. Equally, you're going to save thousands of dollars in lawyers' costs or family court costs in splitting things up. But probably most importantly, you're going to save seeing your kids on a shared basis each week. You don't want to leave a legacy of not having been able to make it work simply because the cultures put you in this position. The school system didn't show you any different. and simply because of lack of knowledge and information.
And you don't want to be living in a relationship where you don't have this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tonight, the price is just $1,995. You'll be coming to Perth if you're listening to this from the East Coast, and we've got quite a few couples coming over from the East Coast to the next Perth event. Being here for 3 days, there's some great Airbnb locations available around the Rise in Maylands where we're holding the event. It's quite close to the CBD, a very easy access from the airport. If you're here in Perth, you come during the day for the 3 days. We start at around 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning and go through to about 8 o'clock at night on the Saturday and the Sunday. On the Monday, we finish at around 5 o'clock. And you'll spend 3 days with us, get awesome shifts, be there with a lot of other beautiful couples. It's a fun event. Like, we have a great time. We laugh about the differences.
And also you meet people that you will become friends with for the rest of your life. You meet a family that are real, that are authentic, and you make friends, and that's beautiful to meet people who are on the same page.
Absolutely. You meet a kingdom of fellow kings and queens that want exactly the same as you do. And it becomes a support network for you.
Who all want more for themselves and for their families.
Absolutely. So what we're really good at is delivering results. And we have worked literally now with thousands of couples. And we know we can get the results, just like Jen and Troy, who have gone through a very tough time in their relationship and in their life recently.
And in business.
I have to thank you for the amazing result in our marriage. It's always been strong, but now it's unbreakable. I'm eternally grateful, not just for my husband and myself, but my children as well. The benefit will be passed on through them. Thank you, thank you. So guys, this is what you can have, and this is what we're offering you right now, is the opportunity to be able to come and get this. And we don't take our responsibility lightly at all. We know we can produce the results for you. You just have to make the choice to commit and come. So here's how it looks. Once you make the commitment, you'll log into the Facebook group, get access to all those things that we've got within there, check into the Armory, book a relationship mentoring session, and then come and attend the Ignite Warrior Relationship event. And you might also be thinking right now things like this.
Can't afford it.
The truth is, you have to be able to afford it. I'm sure if I went into your credit card right now, I could find where you're spending $4,000 on other stuff right now.
We've had single moms working 1 day a week afford it. So it's like anything, you prioritize.
Yeah. And guys, I get it. You're probably looking at the finances and going, how am I going to afford $4,000? The truth is, as I said, you can't not afford it. This is an investment you need to make. These are skills you have to gain if you're truly going to step up as the king within the kingdom. Because quite often guys don't want to spend money in this area. But when you do, and you've got two of you working together, the progress that you make is unbelievable. You might also just be saying to yourself, like, it's okay, like it's not great, but we'll get by. Guys, if you had the skills to change it, you would have changed it by now.
And that's something that guys mainly say, because women are intuitive and they know that they want to go and do something, where guys would be, oh, it's okay, because they're slower to pick up what's really happening.
Yeah. So guys, if you're listening in and you know this is for you, we're going to give you an opportunity to have a one-to-one conversation with us about your situation at the end of this webinar. So you can actually talk to us direct and we can fill you in on exactly how this is going to benefit you. You might also be thinking you can do it by yourselves. Like I said, if you've got those skills, you would have done it by now. You would have changed it by now.
We've all got a blind spot. Every one of us have a blind spot.
Absolutely. A lot of couples think that love is enough.
That'll pull us through. And love is beautiful, but you also need the skills. So
I've met many couples where it's clear they love each other, but love is not enough. If we're not getting our needs fulfilled in the relationship, The knowledge that we love each other does not pull us through. I've met many couples that have got divorced knowing that they love each other. It can easily slip as a priority. There are many other things you might think that you need to focus in on and spend money on right now. Make this a priority. Once you do, it cascades into other areas of your life. Two working together is far more powerful than one. I've heard people say you can't do it in 3 days.
It's amazing what we can do in 3 days. Isn't that right,
Absolutely.
guys, for the ones that have done it?
Yeah, so those of you that have done it,
What can we do in 3 days?
put up there what we can actually do in 3 days so the others can actually see it. Yeah, I get you argue all the time, but like we've talked about, okay, that is not the reason not to come into the event and change arguments into conversations literally within 5 minutes. Not sure that you love them.
And that's a common feeling for a woman.
Yes.
Because you actually can't feel love, especially when
Thank you, Coral.
especially when there's a lot of resentment between you. Women can't feel love. So often they'd say, oh, I don't think I love him anymore. And it's amazing what happens when all that resentment is moved. Because when that resentment is moved, that gives love a chance to flow again.
Absolutely. And I meet many ladies that go, you know, I'm just not feeling that anymore. They know they love him, but there's no sensation going on in their body at all. And that's because they've got the armor plate on. You know, they've literally started to numb out and they're not feeling it. Some people say it's woo-woo. It's not woo-woo. We know we can produce results. We've got hundreds of testimonials from couples saying we have produced results. And it's all scientifically based. We can show you the research. We can show you the results. So if he or she is saying it's woo-woo, then ask them to have a conversation with us and we'll find out if it is woo-woo. Ladies, if you think he's not into this, again, have the conversation with him.
Look at Leah's video after this.
Put your foot down and say, like, you've got nothing to lose. Have the conversation with us and we'll see if he's into it or not. Guys, sometimes girls will test. Sometimes she will say, she'll run out of the room, slam the door and say, don't follow me. What she really means is...
Follow me.
Kick the door down.
Come and fight for me.
Come and fight for me. So, yeah, she might be backing off 1,000,000 miles an hour because she's not getting what she needs in a relationship. And so often we can think it's over and it's failed.
And what she wants to hear is, we need this, I want us to do this, and I'm booking it in.
And
is what she wants to hear from you.
And the last couple of days, I just had a guy from Melbourne do exactly that, and she is ecstatic. And 2 days prior, she was saying it's over and it's finished. When you understand the code and you understand the stages that people go through, it's easy to understand the solution. And that's what we're going to give you when you come to the event. Be happy on the outside or really happy. We see so many couples, you know, they're living the 8x4 happy family photo, but behind that, no one's happy. Don't be that couple. Don't be that family. Don't be that kingdom that's living that. There is a solution. This is the solution to it.
It can be beautiful.
And we want that for you.
Yeah.
So we literally have less than now 20 spots still available. We only take 50 in every event. And we're well into the 30s now for people committed to the event. I've got a speaking event on the East Coast next week where more people will be coming to the event. So if you are thinking about this, then you want to click on the link that we're going to be putting into the webinar chat at the end of this event and booking in for a one-on-one consult with us to hear how this can actually change your relationship around. And we're only going to offer that to less than 20 people now. So if you are thinking about it, honestly, get on, book yourself in, because we'll have to start shuffling people to the next event, which is months away now. It's not going to be on until later in the year. So just to recap, if you decide to come and join us, and we certainly hope that we've done enough to convince you, tonight it's just $1,995. If you need to put it on your credit card to be able to do that, that's what you need to be able to do to come. It's worth that investment in yourselves. So guys, we want to thank you so much for being here tonight. We are going to put up the link here for you to be able to book in an appointment with both Marie or myself to have a chat about your relationship, where it's at, and how
or about you.
The Relationship Warrior event can shift you to where you actually want to be. We hope that you've got some great information tonight. We want to be able to give you more tools.
That's each, Chris. That's per person.
Yeah, that's per person, Chris. So for a couple, it's a bit less than $4,000 in total. So book your appointment, have a chat, and we look forward to being of service to you again. Thank you all for being here, and we really appreciate it.
And thank you for chatting, so I feel like I'm not speaking to a computer.
Yes. Daniel is the consult for a couple. It can be for a couple or a single person, either. We talk to many individuals, you know, within the kingdom. So we sometimes talk to her, we sometimes talk to him, but invariably end up talking to both of them. Yeah. So they're both clear about, you know, what you're going to get from building your kingdom.
Yeah. Jacqueline, love you.
Hayden.
Thanks, Hayden.
Dude, looking forward to talking to you, mate. Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Galaxy, Muzz.
Awesome. Any other questions, guys? We're going to leave the feed up here and going for a little while. We're going to blank the screen off, and we'll put the link in very shortly to book that appointment. Okay, so thank you all for being here.
And just a reminder to the link's gone up in a minute, but to go back and look at the videos, because we couldn't really play them tonight. But have a look at them. Just beautiful people that have worked hard for the kingdom.
Thanks, mate.
Which is great. Have a look.
Okay, take care, everybody.
Thanks, Peter.